You know, sometimes in certain circles, you'll hear a phrase that pops up to describe this really deep, kind of hard to explain feeling. Today, we're going to unpack that. We're going to figure out what it really means when someone says they feel like Jeremiah's sister.
So let's just dive right in. Have you ever had that feeling like you're carrying around a heavy truth, a really deep conviction that just makes you feel, well, completely misunderstood? Maybe even isolated from the very people you care about the most. That whole experience, that feeling, it often gets wrapped up in this one very specific phrase. Someone might say, I feel like I'm suffering like Jeremiah's sister, watching judgment come but still loving the people. It's just packed with this mix of sorrow and love. And to really get it, we have to start with the prophet Jeremiah himself.
Right, so to understand the sister, you've got to understand the brother first. So let's start here, with Jeremiah's calling as the youngest prophet.
Think about this for a second. Jeremiah was probably the youngest person ever called to be a prophet for an entire nation. Now, in a culture that totally revered age and wisdom, God went and deliberately chose someone who would be automatically dismissed. He was picked because he was young, meaning he couldn't lean on his own status or credibility.
And you know what? Even Jeremiah felt like, no way, I can't do this. He tried to get out of it. He told God, I'm just a kid. But God's command back to him was so direct, so powerful, do not say I am a youth.
And this is where that sister idea really starts to make sense. I mean, think about it. Do you ever feel like you're just not being taken seriously, or that you're totally unqualified, but you have this deep conviction that you just can't shake? This is why someone might connect with being emotionally next to the truth teller instead of being the truth teller themselves. It's all about sharing that burden without actually claiming the title.
But being young, well, that was just the beginning of his problems. His calling led him straight into a life of incredible hardship.
Seriously, Jeremiah's life was not some glorious story of honor and miracles. It was just relentless suffering because of his message. His own family and neighbors in his hometown turned on him. The religious leaders had him beaten and thrown in prison. He was literally tossed into a muddy pit and left to die, accused of being a traitor just for speaking God's truth. And then, to top it all off, he was dragged into exile in Egypt, the one place he never wanted to go. This was just brutal, nonstop persecution.
But here's where it gets even stranger. The hardship wasn't just what people did to him. In this really unique way, his entire personal life, it became the message. This was a symbolic life sermon.
I mean, it's just remarkable. God used Jeremiah's own life as a living, breathing parable. He was told not to get married, which was a symbol that there was no future for the next generation. He was forbidden from going to funerals or parties, totally cutting him off from the normal life of his community. His very existence was a constant, lonely sermon. Can you even imagine that kind of isolation?
And all of this suffering, the stuff from the outside and the stuff from the inside, it brings us to the emotional heart of this whole story. Truth spoken through tears.
So after decades of warnings, decades of persecution, Jerusalem finally fell, exactly like Jeremiah said it would. And what was his response? It wasn't, "Ha ha, I told you so." It wasn't anger. It wasn't a desire for revenge. It was just pure, soul-crushing grief. He wrote an entire book about it, which we now call the Book of Lamentations. I mean, it's literally the tears of a prophet. And in that book, he cries out this absolutely devastating question to the world. He says, "Is it nothing to you, all you who pass by?" He's watching the city he loves, the people he loves, be destroyed. And he's just asking if anyone else even sees it, if anyone else even cares about this tragedy.
Okay, so here it is. This is the crucial point, the absolute heart of that Jeremiah sister feeling. His pain wasn't because he was suffering from rejection and persecution. His pain was because they, the very people who rejected him, were now suffering the horrible consequences of their choices. He was weeping for his persecutors. Wow, that is just a profound, almost unimaginable kind of love. So, how does this ancient prophet story connect to us, right here, right now? Well, that brings us to the burden today.
People who feel like Jeremiah's sister, they often describe it like this. It's feeling like you've been shown a truth way early, before anyone else seems to get it. It's watching people you love just dismiss it or maybe even mock you for it. It's finding you can't celebrate the things everyone else is celebrating because you see where it's all headed. And the most painful part? It's grieving for the very people who misunderstand you, all while you're carrying this heavy knowledge you just can't seem to put down. And let's just be crystal clear on this. This is not about someone claiming to be an actual prophet. It's not some official title. It's about identifying with the prophetic burden, that unique, emotional, spiritual weight of carrying a difficult truth, not with arrogance, but with a deep, sorrowful love for other people.
And all of this leads us to one final, really crucial thought. This says it all, right? What made Jeremiah great wasn't that his predictions came true. He was great because he wept while being right. I mean, anybody can be right and arrogant about it. It takes something truly profound to be right and yet be heartbroken for those who are wrong. So when someone says they feel like Jeremiah's sister, what they're really saying is, I stand with a difficult truth, I carry a deep sorrow for others, and I will love them even when I am completely misunderstood. It is truth spoken not with a clenched fist, but through tears.